want fuel for all of your runs, suddenly those gels become super expensive. I figure a week's worth of gels would cost between $40 and $60. However, there is a cheaper alternative, do-it-yourself running gel. It's more than adequate, and for the same week's worth, it costs about $3. Okay, so the energy gel is pretty simple. It has two main ingredients and plus a few other optional ingredients. So the first one is a maltodextrin, and this will be most of the glucose source. And then we also just have plain sugar. That'll give us both glucose and fructose. And then salt, just normal table salt. To make it a little bit more salty, it makes it easier for the stomach to empty and get it into where the glucose can be absorbed in your small intestine. And then just a couple of electrolytes. I have potassium citrate and magnesium citrate, and these are optional. You don't really need them in the solution or in the running gel. So those are the main ingredients. Okay, so the recipe that I'm going to make has 24 servings, so that's about 8 hours worth of gel fueling. Each dose or each serving has 30 grams of carbohydrates mixed in a ratio of 2 parts glucose, 1 part fructose. And so let's go on ahead and get started. We'll first start adding the maltodextrin and the sugar. Those are the biggest items. I like to weigh it instead of measure it. It's just a lot more accurate and a lot easier. That way you don't forget how many scoops of whatever you've done. And I'm not sure how accurately fit into like a cup or a teaspoon or something like that. So I have just a scale and a bowl. Turn it on and voila. So let's go on ahead. And add 240 grams of maltodextrin. Okay, and then we want to add 480 grams of sugar. Ahead and that. Okay, and that's the main bulk of it now. I'm going to set that aside. Just grab a small cup for the other things. The other things you don't add a whole lot of. And in fact, particularly with the magnesium and potassium, you want to be able to measure them fairly accurate. So if you don't have a scale that's accurate, I recommend one that's accurate to 1/100 of a gram. At least I think you need accurate to 1/10 of a gram. Some of these things, like the magnesium, if you overdose on that, you get more than 400 grams, which could be really easy in a large recipe. Like if you're running for 10, 12 hours, you could actually cause yourself a heart attack. So be careful with the magnesium. You don't want to have too much of that in it. And the amount that I've got in is probably about a 5% of the daily recommended dose. So it should you should be able to eat it all day without over getting too much. Let's see. So let's go on ahead and add our salts and For salt, we want 18 grams. Okay, our potassium citrate is 7.2 grams, which isn't very much, especially when you are putting it in so much sugar and maltodextrin. Probably talking like a half a teaspoon or so. And then the magnesium citrates, 2.8 grams. Okay, and then the last ingredient is water. And that's about 350 milligrams, which is probably, I have no idea how much. I'm just going to transfer this into a large saucepan. Just add in a bunch of water. There's 150. There's 300. 350. So, go on ahead and stir this. So it'll be lumpy until it's heated up. And there, I'll go move over to the stove to heat it up. Okay, so the next step is we're just going to heat it up, and we don't want to boil it hard. That'll probably do something bad to the texture, but we just want to heat it up just barely to boiling, and then we'll have some running gel, at least the base of running gel. You still might want to add some flavoring. Although the plain flavor isn't terrible. It's I mean, it's really sweet and sugary, almost has a buttery, salty sort of taste. So you can do this both in the microwave and on the stovetop. The microwave, you just obviously put it in a microwavable dish, put it in the microwave on high, I would say for 2 minutes, and then stir it, and then repeat until it boils. When you're doing it on the stove here, we're going to want to pretty much stir it continuously so that we don't burn it. I've got it on a kind of a medium-high heat. So I just turned the heat down a little bit. It's the first time I've done it in a pan, and it does seem to heat up on the sides a lot faster than obviously than the stuff inside. See, it starts to foam on the top as it's getting close to boiling. And what we want is just a kind of a gentle foam boil. You can see it's starting to happen a little bit. So there we go. And then once it starts boiling like that, then you just turn off the heat and we'll let it cool. Yeah, so the last step is to just let this cool down, add flavoring, and then get it into a bottle that you can take on your run, some sort of bottle or bag.